All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode. I'm Cam, and I'm here with Dr. Huu Kim Lee and David. David's a former pro gamer here in Australia, and Dr. Huu Kim Lee is a child and adult psychiatrist.
Adolescent, yep. Child and adolescent psychiatrist.
Adolescent
Yes.
psychiatrist here in Adelaide, and we're just having a discussion around kind of esports, what we see in Australia around gaming addiction, and thought we'd bring you guys into it. So Dr. Huu Kim Lee has been on the podcast, so if you haven't listened to that, check the link below for that episode. It's really interesting. And David and I are meeting for the first time. So you were recently a pro gamer, and now you've made a decision to quit. What kind of inspired that decision?
Just that I knew I had to get out of it. I knew I was taking control over my life. It was taking me away from my family, relationships, and my social circle. I was developing sort of like a fake online social circle. So I knew, to progress beyond that point, I had to break out of it and get back to life, to reality.
And I know that, we were talking earlier and you mentioned that the competitive aspect of gaming was something that, was a big reason why you played. So how has that been for you to kind of remove gaming in the sense of, like, gaming is such a good way to fulfill that competitive aspect? How are you finding competition now?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I focus my attention into other things, sort of the market, say cryptocurrency, that's a big thing right now. A lot to learn about that. So I draw my energy and my attention onto that. Instead of putting hours and hours into gaming, I'll put some hours into researching crypto and other hours exercising, keeping fit, socializing with friends, and it's just about maintaining that balance, because life's just better that way.
And I know you mentioned that, some of your former teammates or players that you played with are still inviting you to come play, and they're like, "Come on, David, let's play."
Yeah.
So how have you been able to maintain that boundary?
Well, we use, for all you gamers out there, you obviously know Steam. So I just don't sign on to Steam anymore. So I get away from that completely, just so I don't get distracted and don't have the, need to, or be tempted to come back at all. So just removing my attention completely.
And have you found, like, you stay in touch with them on, like, Facebook, or you just more or less kind of, like, accepted that those relationships are going to change and you're moving into a different area of your life?
Yeah, I basically accepted those areas are going to change. I mean, I do message them every now and then just to see how they're going and just to see how they're progressing in the esports scene. But apart from that, I'm sort of focused on what I'm doing now, and I'm happy with where I'm at.
Awesome. I think it's super inspiring for all of you guys watching that, obviously we get a lot of messages from people who say, we want to pursue esports, we want to be a pro gamer, and, how do we justify whether we do or we don't? And just to see an example of someone who, I know you mentioned you gave yourself 6 months, and you said, we're going to go spend 6 months, really take this seriously, really try and do it, and at the end of that, make a decision. And it came to a point where you were like, you know what, we gave it a good shot, we didn't get exactly where we wanted, and that's okay, and now we're going to move into something else. And I think that's super healthy. And a part of my story is also that when I was, after I relapsed, which a lot of people will be familiar with, I gave myself 5 months to actually just play and allow myself to, like, get it out of my system. And at the end of that 5 months, I was going to quit and never go back. And, it's almost like 2,500 days now since I quit. And so I don't really recommend that period, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Where I know for me and I know for you, having that period was really important, but it's also really easy to justify that of okay, another 6 months or another 6 months, another 6 months, and never actually take that step. And from the research we've done, we know 84% of you watching this knew or know that you've had a gaming problem for over 12 months and still haven't made that decision to do something about it. So it's important to be aware of, how are you justifying things or rationalizing things, and are you truly just making up excuses, or are you allowing yourself to truly move forward? So Dr. Huu Kim Lee, what do you think about having a period of time where you say, you know what, I'm going to allow myself 6 months to play and then move on, or I'm going to allow myself a month? Or do you think it's just too easy for that to snowball into kind of binging behavior?
So you're essentially talking about a paradoxical overeating to put you off it, or to just be satisfied with it?
In my experience, it was, I'm going to play for 5 months.
Right.
And I'm just going to allow myself to do it guilt-free.
Yeah.
And at the end of this time, I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
And I have a date in mind.
Mm.
But I'm just going to allow myself to kind of like have a last hurrah.
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of it, I'm going to quit and I'm going to move on.
Yeah. There's a few things with that. First of all, it's a very black and white thinking. Some people have that sense of willpower. I guess with the kids that I'm working with, they're under the age of 16, they might be in primary school, high school. Their frontal lobe, the front part of their brain, isn't developed yet. And that's why teenagers get in fights with their parents, they're arguing, because their parents are doing their job as parents to guide their children about, hey, now's a good time to stop, and they have fights. So that's probably the most common reason why young people present with a gaming or internet problem to me. But to say, for example, if a parent had a child with this problem, to give them a prescribed period of time to get it out of their system, I think it's risky. It's risky because they might actually get bored of the game and go to another game, and at the same time, as a parent, you are essentially in a position where you're trusting your child to fulfill and go through and follow through with that decision. And time again, I'm seeing kids saying, "Mum, Dad, I promise I'll go to school tomorrow, just let me play tonight." Or, "I promise, if you let me have this or you buy this for me, I'll start studying." It doesn't work that way with teenagers. It just doesn't. It might work with adults or young adults in college who have developed that part of their brain, but for teenagers, I'm afraid that's a really dicey game to play.
Awesome. And so one of the big distinctions within this is about negative impact. So when you were gaming, did you feel like there was a negative impact, or do you feel like you were able to kind of like maintain decently healthy behavior?
Yeah, there was definitely a negative impact there. Especially with my surroundings, my family, especially, they weren't very supportive of me pursuing this so-called esports competitive gaming scene, because it's not something that's been proven to work before. But on the media now, there's so much news about esports, so many competitions, millions and millions of dollars of competitions every year, and now it's becoming a reality that esports is a thing of the future. And now people are seeing it, and that also at the same time, that's also giving people false hope that they can achieve this, when maybe only the top 1%, if even that much.
Yeah, probably less. There's a video that I did, I don't know, maybe over a year ago now, on my thoughts on pro gaming, so you can check that out, and it really speaks to that, of like the number of people who realistically are going to make it and the people who are not. And just the real sacrifice and amount of effort that it actually takes to really become a pro gamer. It's not just about playing, it's about everything else that comes with it. So when you were gaming during this 6-month period, were you still working out and like eating healthy, or that all fell by the wayside too?
No, I was eating terribly. I was eating out every day, basically. I had a gym membership, and the gym was basically a 5-minute walk, but even that was too much back then when you're playing games. It was basically strict timeline, because you want to be playing as much as you can. I was boot camping with all my teammates. We were just playing straight for like 12 hours a day, either practicing, they call scrimming, or just watching replays, analyzing replays, or just grinding the ranking system. So just making your way up so you can make a name for yourself and your team. So you didn't even have time for gym.
So how are you feeling now?
Yeah, great. I mean, I'm into gym now, and working out, meeting up with friends, socializing. It feels like much more of a balanced lifestyle, and it's much healthier for your brain and your body.
Mentally, like you just feel like generally the baseline of like your quality of life is just higher right now.
It is. You start to enjoy all aspects of life, even the little things. Back then, when I was gaming, I used to get irritated at anything and everything. My sister would come talk to me. I'd be like, leave me alone. I'm trying to play. I'm trying to practice here. But now you see things differently once you have the time and you sort of spend time, quality time with the people around you, because you're not absorbed completely 100% by this false reality, this false world.
Yeah, and we know that, so we have a study about to come out, and I'm really excited about it because we know from that research that overall our members see a 2x increase to their overall well-being from 90 days off gaming. So that's evaluating 12 different measures of like mental health, family relationships, intimate relationships, your own appearance. Quitting gaming literally makes you better looking. Your quality of your work, life, career. It's just fucking true. And so what's inspiring to me is that quitting gaming for 90 days is now scientifically proven to actually show you real progress in the overall quality of your life, right? So the power in that is that when you quit and you experience those changes, then you're like, wow, I actually want those changes more, so it helps you continue to quit. I also just realized that we're streaming on Facebook Live and I'm swearing. I was like, I can swear because I'm on YouTube. Sorry for everyone. But the overall quality of your life will improve from taking 90 days off gaming, which even if you go back to gaming after that, knowing those positive changes that happen is incredibly powerful for leverage for yourself to either maintain more balance or to identify when you've got off balance and to then make that decision again to truly take that leap. So I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. I think it's going to be super inspiring for people. And I know that you have your own kind of like challenges sometimes with gaming. And I know that recently you decided to make a fundamental shift in that relationship too. So just a quick update, like how are you doing? How are you feeling?
90 days plus free of Pokemon Go. A lot of parents out there would know that I created a run of parenting videos on YouTube about the pitfalls of Pokemon Go, the early game design, some theories that I had about the social aspects and the addictive aspects, and for a while I actually quit Pokemon Go in the early days, but then I actually went to Canada, went to your hometown, and I caught a Taurus, which is a geo-locked Pokemon, and then that just snowballed everything for me. And in June, July, I reached my 1 year anniversary of Pokemon, and I'm a psychiatrist that works with kids to help them quit games. And I made that decision that, hey, I got to set a good example, and I stopped enjoying the game. I was just playing it just to keep up with people in my group, people in my guild. I created a guild, and that process was super hard, but I signed up to the Game Quitters Respawn, started going on the forum and got support with other people suffering from internet gaming disorder, internet gaming addiction, and by putting my story out there, it really helped me to get through. And whenever I reached a point where I had a craving, I had an old team member contact me to play, or a new event, the rare Pokemon Mewtwo came out, and a friend contacted me, messaged me and said, oh, did you know this coming out? And I relapsed one point, and then sure enough, the Game Quitters community, everyone on there has been through that process, and I was able to go cold turkey and do the 90-day detox. I was able to give away my Pokemon Pogo Plus thing. I just gave it away, and what I actually did was I gave my passwords to my sister. I had a few accounts, and she has my accounts, and I don't really care what happens to it. And I noticed clear differences at the 1 month mark, 2 month mark, and 90 days. And I guess it's
It works.
It works.
It works.
It works.
It works.
Yeah. So
thank you for sharing your
thanks.
story.
No, thanks.
Thank you for sharing your story. And if you're out there and you want to share your story, check the link below, gamequiz.com/submit. Share your story. It'll inspire other people to also take this leap. If you enjoyed the video, hit thumbs up, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and you can check the links for both these guys down below to connect with them. And really appreciate you. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
See ya.